Hey, welcome to the channel, guys. My name's Jamie Gardner. Thank you for joining me in this video. We're going to be talking about going through that process in organic marketing where you reach the point where you're able to outsource and when you finally can start scaling your business. Now, this is going to be applicable to people that are building a personal brand in affiliate marketing, or if you're an online coach or consultant, info product creator, same sort of thing, especially if you are in the organic space and you're looking to work out how you can start outsourcing certain aspects of your business and also start to scale your business through paid traffic and paid strategies as well. All right, so it follows somewhat of a typical pathway in my experience. And I guess the cool thing about doing all the outreach and the content and the hustling and DMing people and building your brand that way, which is, if you're doing the Facebook organic route, that's what a lot of people will be doing. The cool thing about that is you don't get stuck doing that forever. There is a pathway to go through. Okay, now before I go any further, by the way, if this is the first time on the channel, I'd like to say a very warm welcome to you. My name is Jamie. I'm a full-time affiliate marketer. I'm also a coach for a program. I've got well over 650 students absolutely crushing it with their affiliate marketing business. If you'd like to learn more about that, there's a link below. You're welcome to check out the free case study, and feel free to hit the like button and subscribe if you're interested in keeping up to date with what we're up to. All right, so like I say, the cool thing is that you don't get stuck in this pattern forever. It's just a way to sort of cut your teeth, get your brand out there, and start to get this sort of organic traffic coming through to your offers, all that sort of stuff. And at some certain point, you're going to have enough credibility within your own audience to start throttling off some of these aspects. Or like I say, you're going to be able to start outsourcing those things as well, and then eventually scale. So eventually, you're going to want to reach a point where you do want to scale your business. Otherwise, like I say, you're just going to get stuck in that sort of hustle phase. And so going through this and really absorbing what I'm going to cover here is going to help you develop a bit of a pathway to follow in order to start doing that, as well as some of the ad strategies that I've used. I used to run a digital ad agency and had a couple of strategies that I deployed on a pretty regular basis with some pretty good effect, and I'm going to share those with you guys as well. So I'm also going to go through a couple of techniques in terms of both organic scaling and again with the paid traffic as well. So the usual journey unfolds very similar to what I'm about to show you, which is basically you start off in the affiliate space, you learn the ropes. A lot of people don't see immediate success, which is probably why the attrition rate is so high in this industry. And like I say, if you're really wanting to shortcut that process, check out the case study, or otherwise go to jgcall.com and I can help you out with that as well. Then at some stage, hopefully someone's going to make a few affiliate sales. And so then, of course, as part of that, becomes very addictive. You want to learn more, you want to become more proficient, you want to produce better content, you want to get out there more to your audience and build your audience up. And so therefore, a lot of the time people will start expanding and adding their own coaching to the mix because you've got results other people want. And of course, your knowledge now has a higher perceived value on it as well. So people are going to come out of your audience and say, hey, listen, I really need some help. This is what I want to achieve, and can you help me get there? And if you do have those skills, you have gone down that pathway yourself, you can help those people out as well. So then a lot of people end up going either full-time into coaching, or they go full-time into product development, or they just remain as an affiliate. But there usually is a progression beyond just being an affiliate. It's usually a product creator, or like I say, a coach as well. And then you can start to create your own trainings. You can start to create your own short courses, low ticket stuff. You have your whole high and back end as well if you're interested. All that type of stuff is really just to generate cash flow, start putting those hooks out to your audience as you're building, get those buyers in order to hopefully help them ascend if you've given them a good experience on that front end product. Excuse me. So of course, none of this really means anything if you're not continuing to build your audience. So that is paramount to this whole thing actually working. You do need to build that audience along the way. And then eventually, like I say, you're going to lead to some point where you might consider launching your own high-ticket program as well. And therefore, being a product creator is slightly different than being an affiliate. Does come with its own hurdles and interesting things that do pop up from your audience and copycats, all sorts of stuff. It is quite a fun game, but it is where you can really start to expand your, income as a result, right? Then you can turn it into evergreen. I've done that many, many times with either coaching offers or produced a workshop, and then I'll wrap that into an evergreen product and sell it, and then have something there that sits there as an asset, or I give it away as a lead magnet, same sort of deal, right? And then eventually, like I say, once you've had proof of concept, you're going to want to scale. When we set up the Super Affiliate Accelerator, this is with my business partner, Jacob Karras, and mentor Jacob Karras as well, and the other gentleman, Chris Donnelly. So when we teamed up for that, we had, I think it was like 35 to 40-ish beta students, November 2019. And I didn't really know where it was going to go. I think Jacob had a very clear goal in mind and clear direction of where he wanted that thing to go. But I was just kind of like, okay, well, let's just see how this goes, right? And so that became something that was then built into an evergreen product. And then, of course, we scaled. We hit the 2 Comma Club Award in February 2021. And it's been a pretty exciting pathway ever since. So, of course, from these core skills that you learn, you're going to want to evolve, and you do naturally evolve. You become more proficient at your content creation. You become better at the sales process. You become better at copywriting. You become better at creating funnels of developing pathways for people to follow, courses, all this sort of stuff. You become better at it because you're further and further ingrained into it. It becomes more enjoyable for you to actually perform these tasks and get people, their own results as well. So, of course, you're going to evolve over time. So it's not always a linear process as well. But the cool thing is there are certain tasks within your business. If you are an organic marketer in particular, whether it be Facebook or any other platform for that matter, and in doing so, what you're effectively doing is making sure that you as the brand are concentrating on the revenue generating tasks in your business. And of course, if you're not, what that means is you're probably spending way too much time on things that really aren't productive in terms of revenue generating process, such as spending 8 months building out a funnel if you don't even know if it's going to convert, right? Or DMing people, and actually there's probably more revenue generating in that thing, but sense of the word. But point being is that it allows you to remove some of those non-generating revenue generating tasks in order to focus on the stuff where your creativity can flow and you can start getting stuff really done on a higher level. So the key to putting all this stuff together is you want to ideally get a spreadsheet together and start thinking about really, really basic things. Now, this is going to sound a little bit strange. I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent real quick, just so you understand why this is really important. Because what happens is the more you do this stuff, the more you fall into a state of what they call conscious competence. Unconscious competence. Now, this is the 4 stages of learning. So you've got unconscious incompetence, which is you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know about the topic itself. And then you become consciously competent, right? So you have to think about it. And so therefore, when you start thinking about it, you become proficient, but it's still taking a lot of brain power for you to do that. And I think I've missed a step, but then you become, unconscious competence, which is the final stage. So unconscious competence, incompetence, conscious incompetence. There you go. I missed a step. Apologize. But conscious incompetence is where you now know about a topic, but you also know that you don't know much about that topic. And then you become consciously competent in it, and then finally unconscious competence. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, and I'm sorry for the long-winded spiel just then, but the reason why this is interesting and important for you to understand is even if you've been doing this for 3 months, you still know things that are unconsciously competent within your mind. So if you imagine that someone who's just starting, you have to reframe things and you have to change the way that you communicate to that segmentation of your audience. And especially if you are trying to outsource things, bearing in mind someone may never have heard of half of this stuff, and you're like, hey, well, this is affiliate marketing, this is what I do, and there's a funnel, and emails, and all right, cool, we good, you done it, okay? Because they're not at that state of awareness. They have no idea. So you have to not dumb down your language, but you have to really carefully, step by step, explain things so they understand what they're actually meant to be doing, right? And so therefore you get a spreadsheet out, you start writing out every individual task that you do on a daily basis in order to generate the revenue in your business. When you do that, you've now got a basically business process, which is super powerful. You do so many different things with that, and you can work out, okay, this doesn't serve me anymore. Do I really need to be doing that? Can I outsource that? You can start working things out. What that also means is that you can start doing little videos, little Vimeo or screen recording videos, Screencast-O-Matic or whatever, where you go through certain things that you do in order to develop a kind of like a training manual. And that there is something that you can now push on as like an ongoing training to anyone that you outsource stuff to. Hey, this is what I do every day. This is the task that you need to do, so on and so forth, right? Super powerful stuff. Right, so I've managed to outsource the initial outreach of all my messenger stuff. People coming into my group, me doing cold outreach sometimes, warm outreach, all that sort of stuff. Engagement. Managed to get all my engagement outsourced. Someone does that for me. That is actually my wife at this time of recording. Lead generation. I get all that outsourced. General admin duties. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and I get that outsourced as well. Content updates. So this one I still maintain most of the control over, but I have historically been able to outsource the content stuff as well. Also audience building, which is, in my case, it is basically doing this type of stuff, putting things out on YouTube. So obviously I'm in control of this. However, I can record this, and once I add this to my list of things that I'm going to outsource, I can get the editing done, I can get the thumbnails done, I can get the description, the keyword ranking, all that sort of stuff, and get all that type of stuff done as well, meaning that all I need to do is produce the content, which is kind of cool, right? And now, at the moment, I actually enjoy this process, so I'm doing it myself. However, it is something I will outsource eventually as well. Right, so scaling. So there's two key ways that you can scale a business when it comes to organic, right? You can either go, number one is organically, which is basically more output. So you're reaching more people, you're having more calls, you're having more sales conversations, you're putting more content out there, and you're reaching more and more and more and more, and more people. Now, of course, you are only one person. So therefore, when you're scaling, what you're going to have to do is employ someone. And this is the outsourcing part, right? So therefore, in order to do so, you can outsource a whole bunch of tasks that aren't revenue producing, but they might have an importance in the sense of building your audience, for example. But they might not be revenue producing, right? So the other way, I thought I had another bullet point there, but I didn't, damn it. So you can outsource it to create more productivity in your own business. You can become more proficient. I thought I skipped all over that. So anyway, whatever. Paid strategy. So this is the second way that you can scale. Okay, and so this is jumping onto pretty much any ad platform and running an ad to a funnel, and then funneling those people through, and then getting them to buy some stuff at some stage, and building a list of leads and buyers and that sort of stuff, right? So the contingent with this is that you have an optimized process. You have an optimized funnel. If you're just tacking something together and you're like, hopefully this works, well, maybe it can if you've experienced with it and if you're prepared to spend quite a bit on ad spend in order to work out how to adjust it as you go on the fly. It does need a lot of budget for testing, okay? Even if it's just a low ticket offer, you're testing the variables such as the creatives, the ad copy. If you've got video content, you need to test that out. Then you need to test the landing page, the copy on that landing page, the hook, in order to get someone interested in that, the color scheme on the funnel, the congruency of that, the autoresponder sequence on the back end, all these things that you can test out. But you do need a considerable budget, in my opinion, to do so. So just bear that in mind when it does come time to scale. But it does offer the ability to increase the revenue in your business dramatically, okay? Right, so the way that you do this in an organic basis is, like I say, you have to optimize your sales process. If you've got 100 different ways to close someone, it's a lot harder to outsource. You need to be more specific about what your 3 to 5 steps are that you take from someone who's going to be a stranger right through to then a client, and then servicing that client as you go through, right? So you need to make sure that process is well and truly optimized. So this could be things like calls, messenger conversations with people. If you're doing like my business partner mentor Jacob does, which is he often will close people through just a Google Doc and a couple of posts, which is pretty damn cool if you ask me. He knocked out a good 45K in 11 days, I think it was, so off those, which is pretty funky. So then you've also got things like email, and all that type of stuff, right? So I lost my train of thought mid-sentence. That's ridiculous. I hate when that happens. So ideally, you want to outsource the task, and I just realized that I've already spoken about this. That's why that you don't love. Okay, if it's something that you find is something like, oh man, this is I love my business, but this is just the part that just irks me. find a way to outsource that if you can, if it doesn't, devalue your time and whatnot, right? So the cool thing is that you can leverage the results to parlay into more sales and more clout and all that sort of stuff. And so when you're doing this, if you've got people out there that you outsource certain aspects of your business to, kind of cool thing is that these results that you're getting for yourself and for your clients and all that sort of stuff, it's going to parlay. It's going to create more clout, more credibility as you go through, and more people are going to be interested in that as you go through, right? Which is kind of cool. Right. So once you optimize everything that you're doing in terms of your funnel, in terms of, I guess, the autoresponder sequence on the back end, it seems to be converting pretty well from what you can see. There's going to be a couple of ways that you can scale, right? And so the big obvious one is Facebook and Instagram in terms of ads. I love Facebook. I think it's amazing for advertising on. However, Facebook is nasty. They are absolutely nasty. They will just smite you down and cancel your ad account without even so much as a look. And a lot of the time, you haven't breached any terms and conditions. You've got all the compliance stuff you'd ever want on your pages. Your creatives are all like congruent and compliant, and you've checked the T's and C's 100 times, and they will just go whoosh and slap you to the dark ages without so much as even being able to communicate with anyone. And so this is why I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook and Instagram as a result. YouTube, by contrast, are a little bit more relaxed. They allow, I guess, a different variant of ads on the platform, which is kind of cool. They also have support, so you can actually contact someone if you get stuck. There's chat support, and if you scale and end up getting decent amounts of volume, you can actually pick up the phone and chat to account managers in most cases. YouTube, by contrast, is more mass market. You can't target to the nth degree. You have to make it very clear in the first couple of seconds of your ad that hey, this is who I'm calling out in my audience, and this is how I believe I can help you. So it is slightly different. Pinterest, again, I've done a little bit of stuff there, not a huge amount. They are quite strict on the compliance aspect of things as well. Google, same as YouTube. Again, you can run search ads, which is kind of cool. They also got Bing, Microsoft, now known as Microsoft Ads, and again, it's the same thing. They are a little bit more relaxed as well. They are search traffic as well, so obviously there's no video sites attached to Microsoft, to the best of my knowledge at least. Go to places like Buy Sell Ads to have banner ads. These can be quite powerful, but again, it comes down to testing. You really need to throw these out there to work out where your audience is and how, I guess, how you might be able to get in front of them. And there's other things like Outbrain, for example, and I haven't really used much of that, but they're more like advertorials rather than sort of like your typical ads that you might see on Facebook, for example. And they're normally like embedded into like an article type thing, for example. Right. So for these examples, this is where I've had most of my experience. So I'm going to talk about Facebook and YouTube as well. So here is my favorite Facebook strategies. Like I say, I used to run a bit of an agency, and these are kind of my go-tos, so they work incredibly well, and I didn't invent them, but this one is amazing. It's called the carpet bomb. And so the whole idea, the whole premise with this is that you have a relatively short video. So it's around about 60 seconds. It can be longer. Like I guess the rule of thumb is if it's, say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes or half an hour or whatever, the rule of thumb is that the longer someone watches that video for, the more engaged they are in your content. So it means it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If someone skips through that video after like 2 seconds, clearly there's no interest there whatsoever, and that's completely fine. If they watch 50% of a 12-minute video, then they've spent 6 minutes with you. Like they must be somewhat more engaged than someone that skips through that. Hopefully that makes sense, right? The idea is that you're building trust and you're building rapport with your audience. So there's minimal calls to action as part of that initial video. And what you're able to do with that data is create a custom audience, of people that have watched 3 seconds, people that have watched 15 seconds, 50% of the video, 75, and I think it goes right up to 95% of the video as well. So then what you want to do is create a static image for the viewers that have seen at least 50 to 75% of that. And so you want to split test that as well. So check out the ones that are only 3 seconds, check out the ones that are 50%, 25%, 75, and just see which one is going to align better. But the rule of thumb is 75% of the video, especially if it's 1 minute, 45 seconds, they must be somewhat more engaged in that content than someone who has never, they're skipping right through it, right? That's the rule of thumb. Now, the reason why I suggest creating a static image ad for this particular strategy is, I don't know why, but an image ad actually, in my experience, works a lot better than a secondary video. So if you're retargeting to a video, it actually doesn't work as effectively as just having a static image with a bit of content there. So give that a shot. But again, like everything in the online space takes testing, right? So test it out and draw your own conclusions from that. The ad, when you're retargeting, needs to have a very strong call to action. Get this guy, click here to get this, whatever it is, right? But it needs to be very, very strong. And also, if you've got either an opt-in form or like a tripwire, so they opt in, and then the very next page is like a tripwire low ticket offer, $2 to $7 or $2 to $15 or something like that. Whereas it's just like a no-brainer for them to buy it, but it has a high perceived value, gets them in your funnel as a buyer. Massively powerful stuff. Either one works well. So this little ditty here is it's basically a video funnel, right? And so what it is kind of the same process as before, except what you're ideally looking to do is capture people that have watched 75%. And let's see if I've got any more right. Yeah, okay, cool. So now it means that instead of retargeting to an image, you might retarget to another video or another piece of content that helps them out. You might retarget those people to another piece of content. And so you can actually get it. So, say days 0 to 5, let's see in the first ad, and days 5 to 10, they might see the other one, and so on and so forth. And so after, for example, 30 days, you've got people that have been seeing you absolutely everywhere, and you're kind of following them around the internet, and they're like, wow, man, this person, they seem pretty legit. Now, the cool thing about this is what it does is that instead of like every other market, which is the direct response style, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, but it's like, hey, I've got this thing, free guide, check it out in the link below. So it's a typical ad. Whereas if you come out slightly different and you do a video ad, which goes on to another video ad, which goes on to another video ad, how much more engaged are those people after seeing 4 to 5 pieces of content from you over, like, say, 10 to 15 days or whatever? So much more engaged. You're going to think, wow, this person's really unique. And you start adding all sorts of things, maybe student results or, different parts of your own journey and testimonials and different things like that. And it's super powerful for getting people that are already hot to trot once they hit your landing page, which is amazing. Right. So, same sort of process here. And I've obviously got my little boxes out of whack there, but you get the point. Is that what's going to happen is this time you're looking to do the same thing, except instead of going to a landing page, you're just throwing them straight into Messenger. In that case, with Messenger, by the way, you can outsource to a whole bunch of people. They can send a Messenger as your brand, and message those people and just kind of get them engaged in conversation, see if you can actually help them out and take it from there, so to speak. And that's it. Nice and easy, right? So the big things to remember with these, I guess any ad strategies in general, is they do take budget to test and tweak. You can't just kind of go, cool, well, I've got $50, I want to throw some ads. Like, it doesn't really work like that. You need quite a considerable amount in that initial stage in particular in order to test those things out as best as possible and as efficiently as possible. So you ideally want to test every angle you possibly can. So everything from age, gender, the demographics, psychographics, all that type of stuff. And like I say, the cool thing about these types of strategies, especially the ones I just showed you, is that if you've got a video that kicks butt, it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. The people that watch more of it are going to be more engaged than the people that don't watch any of it, right? And so hopefully that kind of makes sense there. So something called the 3-5-5 rule. So basically, if you've got 3 campaigns, you might have, for example, this is something that I've used quite extensively as well, but you've got something that's quite targeted, you've got something that's quite broad, and then you've got a retargeting as well. And so that way, what it means is that you've got, under that campaign structure, you've got, say, for example, in the United States and ages 35 to 45, and there's going to be people that only like affiliate marketing. And then you've got another one, which is just United States 35 to 45, no targeting layers whatsoever. And then, of course, you've got the retargeting as well. So each one, try to test out 5 ad sets for each campaign. Just means that you're getting more data out there, and then, of course, 5 ad variants as well. And very, very quickly, you're going to see that there's going to be patterns. It might be like, okay, well, that one with a little bit of orange over here, and that copy seems to be working well. I'm going to take those and then put them into a new campaign or a new ad set over here, and that's going to help me get better click-through rates and all that sort of stuff as you go through. So then, basically, like I say, like it says there, I should say, pick the winner from each ad set and use those and cycle through them type thing. So the cool thing is, well, it's not cool, but get comfortable with the idea that you're going to be wrong on most of your campaigns. It's really just about getting that data in order for you to optimize as you go through. Right. So YouTube's a little bit of a different beast there, okay? So it is for broader market, so you do really need to have that strong call to action on the front end there. So what that means is that they need to be catchy and engaging, and the messaging really needs to be on point in order to hold their attention and get them to elicit some form of response, which is clicking the buttons to get the thing right. It's not quite as focused as Facebook in my experience. That's not to say that you can't target stuff with a degree of accuracy, but it's not quite to the same degree. But it is a bigger market, so therefore it's probably greener at the moment, at least anyway. And like I say, the benefit being is that you're not just going to get your account smited quite the same way as that you would on Facebook anyway. So Ascension models do tend to work quite well with YouTube. So, for example, we've got a low ticket front end offer, and there's a higher ticket Ascension on the back end. So the thing to bear in mind though is that people on YouTube, they're not there to buy stuff. Basically, they're just they're looking through cat and goat videos and doing whatever they're doing, right? So hence why it needs to be a very powerful call to action to get people to kind of like stop what they're doing and start to look at your video and actually take some form of action on that. And likewise with the email opt-ins. So don't make things too complex for them, especially with those ones that just needs to be, hey, click here, do that thing, bang, done. So things like guides and trainings, webinars, etc., all that sort of thing tends to work pretty well with that type of traffic. So another one of my favorites is actually a call funnel. And so you do this with either Facebook or YouTube. And to give you an example, if you click on to jgcall.com, I think I will leave a link below there if you're interested. There's a free training they usually opt in for. It's short and punchy and to the point. My one, I do have a slightly longer variant at the moment, but I've sort of tweaked and tested between a 10 and 20-minute one. I think I've got like a 40-minute one there at the moment. There's an option to book a call. That's as simple as it gets. And so ideal price point is looking at sort of like $2,000 to $3,000 and above. It really doesn't work. If you've got something that's $1,000, probably not going to work quite as efficiently in my experience. But again, that is just my experience. Do your homework with that. But again, it's one of those things where it's worth testing, right? And so you need to build a bit of clout before the sale. So you need to be able to show results of either yourself or your students, hopefully both, and that is going to really juice your audience up when they do jump on that call as well. So a bit of a downfall. You need to test everything, okay? Absolutely everything. Colors, sequences. Do they book a call and then they go to an application, or they go to the application, then book a call, like all that sort of stuff. And it can be a little bit laborious when you're going through this process because you're throwing out different ads, throwing out different targeting, you've got your funnel, and you're trying to make that as best as you possibly can as you go through this. Plus, getting people to actually show up as well. That can be the other thing. So you're looking at quite a decent budget just to get started, just to test things out. And it's not so great for one-to-one coaching offers, in my opinion, because unless you're charging 5 to 10K plus, it's probably the cost of getting those customers probably not going to equate to a positive ROI. You're better off either charging a considerable amount, like say $10,000 or more, and then just I guess having those size products there as well. It is got to be clear that you're there to sell something. If it's just framed as a particular like a free strategy session and you're not actually offering any strategy, it's just a sales call, people will read through that straight away and their guard goes up, and that's why a lot of people won't rock up to those calls as well. So the thing to understand, the thing to be comfortable with, is no sort of magic pot of gold, okay? They all work, they all take consistency, and they all take testing. And when you're able to do that and you can understand the power in being able to go through these and sticking with one thing and going, I'm going to scale, I'm going to use, say, Facebook ads, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to try that funnel thing Jamie said and give it a shot. So just pick one and become very fluid with that and very strong in your understanding of that and confident in it and get those results. And then, of course, once you do, you can start to really, really scale after that, which is really cool. Then, of course, you can go over and do other things on other platforms, right? But I always encourage everyone just to stay super focused to start with. Right. So if you'd like to see the exact steps that I take in my business, it's currently producing between sort of 15 and 30K per month using organic traffic such as Facebook or Twitter or sometimes YouTube, all that type of stuff. I do run ads on occasion, but I'm not really running so many just at the time of recording. But if you're interested in learning that, there is a link below. I put on a workshop a little while ago, really just uncovers every single step of my entire business. And it's pretty good. I've had some really rave reviews on it. It does come with an ironclad guarantee as well. And it is a tiny, tiny investment just to check that out. So if that's of interest, that is below. For everyone else, smash that like button, drop a comment, let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this video. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. I'm going to be putting out a whole bunch more of this stuff. My name is Jamie Gardner. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks very much, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.